Good morning, afternoon, or night, depending on what time you're watching this. This is the Wild Baby Show. This is Melanin Mindset, formerly known as the Wild Baby Show, a show that looks at mental health issues within the Black community. And today I'm joined by a special guest. Guest, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
My name is Theo Manderson. I'm a presenter at Premier Gospel. I'm in the Christian radio studio. I'm also a youth mentor, behavior specialist, whatever you want to call it as well. So yeah.
Cool.
And anything else.
All right, cool. So Theo, or brother Theo, I should say.
You can call me Theo, man.
How have you been so far? Obviously during the lockdown and everything. It's been what? It's been a year now, isn't it?
Apparently it's been a year since like yesterday or whatever it was.
Yeah, yesterday. So how have you coped?
It was adjusting. It was okay because I was always out of the house because I work in a school and I work at Premier. So I was going to school in the morning and then I was going to Premier in the afternoon. So doing that and then to go into doing like just at home was an adjustment, but it's all good. So when you're stuck at home, it's good to have like a routine. So my boys do a paper round, my two teenage boys, my two younger boys. And I took over their paper round because they were at home and they didn't want to do it anymore. So I took over their paper round and got on my bicycle. So that's my routine every morning. Get up, go do the paper round, then I'm up. And then I go to the park, do a little bit of exercise, and then I'm at home. Else I would never come out the house.
Oh, do you know what? It's funny as you say paper round. I was talking at work about this the other day. And I was wondering if that's still a thing. I didn't know it was.
I didn't know until they started it. I didn't know it was still a thing because they were looking to earn extra money, but they did it for like 2 years and then they had enough. There's that lockdown. They're like, well, why are we getting up so early if we're not going anywhere?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because I was like, okay. And the guy asked me if I wanted to carry on doing it. I was like, yeah, I might as well So even to this day, I'm still doing it.
Okay. I mean, I did the paper round. That was my first job. Paper round.
I had a paper round as well. And the joke is, I had a paper round, and then I used to drive vans. I used to have my own van business and stuff. I used to deliver the newspapers to the shops.
Full circle thing, yeah.
Full circle, man.
That's crazy. I think I was 12. I think I might have been 11.
Yeah, that would have been around that age, 13, teenage kind of that age.
Yeah. And it was delivering. It's funny because my mum made me actually quit the job because I was delivering, like, she thought I was doing just my road that I live. I lived on a hill. Right?
Okay.
And she thought it was just that our hill that I was doing, and I was actually doing like around this whole block, like big area.
Oh, was you doing the evening papers, the free ones in the evening? Is that
no, I was doing it in the morning. So I was.
The morning ones with the big bag and everything.
Yeah, so I was doing it like I would wake up around 6-ish.
Yeah.
Do it and then go to school after.
Yeah. That's the routine.
But the thing is, it was in the winter time, so it was dark, right? One time she was driving, and I said to her, "Oh yeah, Mum, like, this is where," because we had this library, right? And behind the library, we had this like alleyway and stuff like that. And then she was like, "Oh," I said to her, "Yeah, this is where I go." Like, she was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I go behind here, and then I go up there." And she was like, "You're going all up here?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "For £5 a week?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then she was like, "No, you're quitting. Because it was winter, innit? So it was like,
it's dark
and it's behind there and all of that. And she was like, no, that's too dangerous. You're quitting.
That's a good mummy, man. That's a good mummy, man.
Yeah, she won't have me out there like that.
So that's what's kept me. That's what's kept me through the lockdown. So because I'm at home, because what it is for Premier, I edit programs. I edit preaching ministries. One of them's actually on now. One of the ones I edit being played now out on air. So I'm just stuck behind my laptop all day looking at green squiggly lines all day. So, and I don't have a set time to start, so I could get up out of my bed at 11 o'clock. So doing the paper round in the morning gets me up, gets me into a routine. Yeah, because you can just get lazy, isn't it? Just sit at home, go from upstairs to downstairs, and just that's it. My traveling is far, so now upstairs, downstairs, and that's it.
Yeah, it's easy to fall into like The lazy
Yeah, yeah.
thing. I put on weight. I think a lot of people's put on weight since.
Yeah, and I was
going to the gym, and then I just the gym's closed and that. I ain't got no excuses, because really you can always go jogging, you can go out, and like you said, you go parking for your thing, innit?
You need the motivation though, innit? So you need something to motivate you. So I play vets football as well. I play old man's football for Vets League. Okay. You have to be over 30. You have to be over 35. I don't know if you qualify for that yet.
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
Nah.
Not quite.
Yeah, so I'll play in that. So that's my motivation. So that's what gets me going. I wouldn't train. I wouldn't do anything.
Is that 5-a-side, 7-a-side?
No, it's a proper league. 11-a-side.
11-a-side.
Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, depending on whatever the time is. Yeah. Okay.
What position do you play?
I don't really care about that now. I'm nearly 50 years old. I don't really care about position. My thing is, can I wake up on a Monday with no aches and pains?
Okay.
That's, no injuries. When the game is finished, I'm like, okay, I'm okay. I'm good. Great game. I don't care if we win, lose, or draw. I know it's bad attitude, but
well, you get the exercise, in it. That's what it comes.
And that's what it's about. Look, I'm not getting paid anymore like I used to when I was younger.
Yeah.
I don't need that fight. I ain't got that anymore. So I'm just playing for the fun and a bit of banter with your friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I play with my friends that I've grown up with, so it's a bit of fun. It's all good, man.
What do you? I mean, your profession, essentially, you're always talking. Whether you're
always
on the radio or you're talking to the young people. Yeah. So how has it been like with that the social element of things? Because I feel that sociality is kind of slowed down for a lot of people.
That's gone out the window, man. Because I also host events, so concerts and all those things. So I was fortunate last year. I got to go to Germany in October. I got to go to Germany in October for a few days to do a concert, and that was
what do they call it? Oktoberfest?
No. This is so it's a young lady that's moved to Germany. She does African praise and worship.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. So I was fortunate to get to go over there in October for a few days, for about 3 days, to do the concert. I've been going for the last 3 years, so I was fortunate to get to go. That's about it. So that's the only. But socially, no, I'm at home, man.
Right.
I'm just at home.
Right.
So I've gone from being busy and active and non-stop to at home by myself.
All right. So obviously you're a radio host. How did you get into? Is Premier Gospel the first radio station that you've ever been on? Is it a transitional journey?
I was. It's by the grace of God. It's nothing to do with me. My friend asked me to come on a show with him. He had a talk show. It was a youth talk show called Awkward. It was on a Wednesday night, and I was studying counselling at the time. And I said, okay. The show started it was 9 till 11, and my course finished at 9. And I said, okay, I can come and do the last hour if you want. And he said, yeah, come down. So I whizzed down. About half an hour, 40 minutes drive. Came down to the station. I think after the first or the second show, I said, Moyo was the station manager. I said, I like this radio thing. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. And then they showed me some responses by some of the listeners that like my voice and stuff like that. And the thing is, most people don't like their own sound of their own voice. Well, I didn't like the sound of my own voice. Yeah, so that was me. I thought my voice was a bit monotone, a bit dead and stuff. But they said that people liked it. And then that show went on for about 6 to 7 months. It could be a year. And then it came off air. And I was actually missing it. I was like, I missed that radio thing. It was kind of cool. Then it came back on the air again on a Sunday night at 5 to 7. And then Moiwa came to me one day and said, okay, I've got a show for you. Because I know you work with young people. It's a youth show. I want to get young people in the studio live. So now you have to come from sitting across the desk, now sitting and start controlling the desk, which is, I don't know if you can see it. It's like a whole heap of buttons around here. Actually, let me show you guys. So it's all these buttons here and stuff like that.
All right.
So I had to learn to control that basically. No, because my friend Wayne was there.
All right.
So he was there to kind of like press that one, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. And then after a while, I got that, and then I had my training. My training was with a guy, a man called Paul. I always forget his surname. He's like have you heard of TalkSport?
Yeah.
So he's one of the directors. He was one of the directors or founder of TalkSport. So he's a radio guru. He's trained up a few guys. So he was my trainer.
Okay.
So he had me in one room speaking for, giving me all these radio ideas and tips for shows. I didn't know what he was talking about, to be honest. He was just, I took out my pen and paper and I was just writing down stuff. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I didn't know what he was talking about. So, and then he brought me into the studio and said to me, okay, let me see your thing. So he said, introduce the next song. I introduced the song. He goes, okay. And then he said, introduce the next song. And I introduced the next song. And he went, all right, tell me a story. I told him a story, but I left it at a cliffhanger. So he goes, okay, finish the story. And then Moyo was coming in now to see what was going on. And he was getting up and saying, Moyo, this guy's a natural. And the only thing is he needs to work on operating the board, because what I was doing, I was talking and then I would pause and then go through the process. I got to push this button up and take this one down. And so my brain wasn't, like now it's just automatic.
Yeah.
But before it was like I was stopping. And on radio, when you stop talking like this, like me and you stop talking like this, it's called dead air. And the listeners automatically start to panic.
Yeah, can they think something's gone wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. Even a 2-second pause or 3-second pause on radio, because there's no visuals.
Yeah.
You just like, what's going on? So I had to learn to do that. But that was it really. And I've been here now 7 years.
Right.
Yeah. So that's my introduction to radio, and everything has fallen from there. So like today I train some of the new presenters. I teach people how to use the board and how to people to present and stuff like that. So yeah, that's my introduction to radio. So no media training, none of that, nothing.
That's crazy, man. The way things just fall into place like that, though. That's
When God's in it, man. When God's in something and he opens a door, and he knows what talent you've got more than what you know.
So you feel it was more God's plan than yours?
Never my plan. As I said, I just came on to help my friend. I've never been on radio. If anybody that knows me well knows, I don't even have music on my phone. That's I'm not that guy. I like music, but I'm not in love with music like that.
All right, as you mentioned that, because you're a gospel radio station, so the music
Premier
that
Gospel,
you play is classed as sort of uplifting, right? Or spiritual, I guess. What is your take on the concept of music therapy? How real is that to you? Do you think you think it's something that people can bypass, or is it a need in everyone's life?
Everybody, doesn't matter who you are, everyone loves music. It's I don't think I've met anyone that doesn't like music. It might be classical music, it might be rock, it might be some genre of music, but people like music. Music does something to you. It taps into your spirit. It goes past your logical thinking brain, and it gets deep into you. Certain songs will touch you, make you start crying. Some songs will make you smile. Some songs will make you reminisce, back to your childhood. So that's what music can just, and it can break down barriers as well.
What do you mean by that?
So if you know a young person, like if I'm working with a young person and I have the facilities to play music, and I know they're like a particular sign of music or style of music, I will play that. Because what happens is there's a conversation now, because there's an interest in that sound, isn't it? So it might be your favorite artist or whatever it might be, and they say, okay, what's he saying here? And because all of a sudden that person now is in their world, because this is their song, this is my song. So if you play your favorite song now, you're gonna go into your mode that song does for you. It takes you somewhere, and then someone now has to get into that with you, or they're on the outside.
Okay, so all right, so like you're talking about like positive stuff, yeah, positive music. Okay, so what do you think about, when people say things like music contributes towards negative actions?
It can do.
Or
It can do, because music puts you in the mood, isn't it? So like boxers, you see boxers walking into the ring, they're playing a song. There's very few boxers walk into the ring with no music, because it gets them going.
I think Tyson never walked in with music though, did he?
That's what I'm saying. But Tyson was. That's what I'm saying. Very few. Tyson's an exception to the rule. But he was an exception to the rule boxer. There wasn't. He was a throwback to the old days.
Yeah, true.
I'd rather you play music than not play music, because I don't know what you're thinking.
You
just looking at me.
I think that's why he didn't do it, to intimidate people.
Yeah, because I would be intimidated. There's no music. There's no smiling, and he's clicking his neck every 2 minutes, and
no robe or nothing.
Nothing. He's just coming in menacing. I'm like, yo, this guy looks like he wants to kill people. This is boxing. This ain't street, but most boxers come in with some uplifting music, something. You see them, they get in, it gets them into the zone. Yeah. Footballers, sports people, you see them, they're having the headphones on as they're going to places. So yeah, it works for them. But it can do, because even young people, because I work with some less desirables, but when they're about to do something, they're playing a song to psych them up. Maybe it's a drill rap or whatever it is. It's psyching them, is getting into this, psyching them up, firing them up.
So with that being said, what about like, people that say in general that music needs to be cut off, or that music can't be played or in the radio, or what do you think about that in contrast to somebody that says, well, that's my favorite type of music? How do you go about that?
You can't cut off music. You can't cut off music. That would be impossible.
But if you're saying, like what you said, if someone's about to do something negative and they play that track to psych them up, then I could use that, let's say in the court of law, I could say, well, actually, this particular song or this particular artist influences violence because people listen to them before they go out and do something.
But then they can turn, but that same artist can turn around and say, I have 2 million people listening and you're going to ban my music because 2 people have used my song to do something negative.
Yeah.
Like, you got to weigh it up.
Yeah.
For the handful of people that do something listening to music, to the majority that's streaming or whatever, it's disproportionate.
Yeah.
Because that song might get me psyched up, but it might make you chill out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As I said, music affects people different ways, doesn't
differently. That's what I was saying. So you can't ban it because, like I remember when I was younger and when rap music started, they used to stick on the CDs. This song contains explicit lyrics. Yeah. Nowadays, the explicit lyrics is a bit more violent than when I was growing up. In the late 80s, early 90s. It's different lyrics, but it's a sign. The music is a reflection of the times. So if people don't like the sound of the music, you have to change what's going on outside. The young men are only speaking their truths. They're not making it up. They're not making up pipe dreams. This is how they're living. So if they're talking about violence, then there's a problem in society that young men at that age are into violence so much, or looking to hurt each other so much.
What do you think about like Christian? Obviously, you play the music. So what do you think about ex gang members becoming Christians and then rapping gospel lyrics now? Christian.
No problem, man. It's no problem, because they're using the talent and skills that God's placed them with to spread the gospel, because remember, not everybody likes the same type of music. So if I like rap and you like R&B, if I play you rap, it's not gonna have the same effect as if I play your R&B song, isn't it? But if you play me an R&B song, I might say, yeah, it's all right. But you play me a rap song, I might say, yeah. So, there's everybody that's out there, and there's different varieties of people like this. So if you're a rapper and young people like rap or people like rap, hey, here's a gospel rap song. it's an alternative to the one that you're listening to. As you said about the different sounds and negative music, here's a positive, uplifting one. It's still the same style, still the same sound, similar beat, just the wording's changed.
When you're playing music on the radio, is it all your choice? The playlist that you're playing, is it all what you want to play, or do you have like, are you given like a set songs that you need to play?
So there's a playlist that so it's a computer generated system. So on Premier Gospel, 9 o'clock every evening, there's a specialist show. So those specialist presenters will play this, they can play what they want. So Monday night, we have gospel house music, sanctified selection. Tuesday night, we have reggae vibes, which is like Caribbean, that plays soak everything. Wednesday tonight is hip hop session. So if you tune in at 9 o'clock, you're going to get load of hip hop for 2 hours from 9 till 11. And on tomorrow is going to be the sounds of Africa, Habari Africa. So all different gospel, African sounding music, Afro beats, whatever the continent has. And then on Friday, we have Latin music. So those presenters will play whatever they want. But I'm not a specialist that way. So I play pretty much what's already in the system.
Right.
But we can change. Well, I can change some songs. I've been given that green light because I'm a bit of a rogue. So.
Oh, okay. Did you ever get like, I mean, is there ever a time where you're like, oh, I've got to play this trick? Can't believe this song. Like, do you ever get that?
Yeah, what? Sorry, I didn't hear you. Sorry.
Do you ever get times where you're just like, oh, why is this song on the playlist again?
Oh, I used to. I'm not gonna lie. When I first started, I used to. I'm not gonna lie. I used to be like, oh man, I don't like this song. Who likes this song? This song is terrible. And then I remember I did a request show. I was covering somebody's show, and the song I said that I don't like got requested like 3 times. I was like, people actually like this song. And then I got to realize it's not about my selection. It's about what the listener likes. It's not about, because what will happen is you'd end up playing a small section of music, ones that you like. If you do that as a presenter, then you're really limiting yourself and you're being selfish.
Okay, so like when you're playing, like let's say you're playing a certain song, right? And it's got you in a particular mood, yeah, as a presenter.
Yeah.
Do you think that reflects on your performance as a presenter at that time? And can your mood like shift along with the music in how you're?
It should do. If you're into the show, you should connect with what you're playing. You should connect. So if I'm playing, for instance, Marvin Sapp, and he's never would have made it, and he's going into it, then I come off, and he's all down, and I come, hi, it's Steel Madison. It doesn't reflect the atmosphere. Yeah? So people are listening, and they just finish like crying and whatever. Then I come in, hi, how you doing? It's like, whoa, give me some time to like, come out of my, trance or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's a deep.
Because what people fail to realize on radio is that a lot of the shows are not actually live.
Yeah, I realized that during lockdown. Actually, was it lockdown? Yeah, it was one of the local radio stations here, and they were playing like a lot of pre-recorded stuff, which I didn't realize. I didn't know at the time until it was only when I was listening I started to put 2 and 2 together, and then it did the little in between bit where it's like, this is a recorded show, like a little.
Okay, some of them say it. Some stations don't say that this is a recorded show. Because the show is recorded maybe earlier on in that day. Yeah. But some of the shows, if it's a playback of an old show, then they will say it. But if it's not a playback of an old show, it's just a pre-recorded show that you recorded it earlier in the day. So that's what it is.
So you talked about like the request show and that, yeah. How often do you get feedback from people, even if it's just like local people that you know? And what is the general feedback that you get?
It depends. You get feedback straight away. So while the show's on, you get feedback. So I used to have a show every evening, but since lockdown, everything's changed. So I only have one show now on a Saturday evening between 7 to 10. And pretty much that's feedback throughout the whole show. Depending on the song, depending on if I've said something silly or which I tend to do. You know, I'm a bit of a comedian. I don't know. I'm humorous. I wouldn't say I'm a comedian. I'm humorous. You know, so it's 3 hours of just giving Christ all you got. That's my show. So it's just forgetting about what's happening and just do your thing. What
about criticism? You often get criticism?
Not really. Christian people are nice. They're nice. They've learned the rule of if you haven't got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. So, but most people tend to be nice. So yeah. So it's all good.
So you don't ever get like someone saying, you know, you shouldn't be playing that sort of music, or
oh, we've had that in on the station, not me per se, but we've had those kind of things, and especially on this station, Premier Christian Radio. Now the listeners on there, they're serious, man. They're serious. If they don't like something, trust me, while that song's still going on, they'll be sending an email. The song doesn't even finish it, and they've sent that email in. Oh no, I think that song's appropriate, and or you'll get an email, or you get a message, or you know, there'll be an email going around the managers or some song and stuff like that, and yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, you're a mentor at a school.
Yeah.
So that tells me you have a passion for the youth, and that you care about their mental well-being and
mm-hmm.
How did that come about? Where did that come from?
Okay, that started when I got baptized nearly 20 years ago now. I used to drive lorries and stuff, and I just got fed up. Someone prophesied over me, Benito. You remember Benito Sappleton? He prophesied over me a few months before that, and I just laughed at him. I thought, this guy's a joker, clown, just talking. And he said, you're going to be working with young people, you're going to be known around the country and all these different things, you know, you're going to write a book and all this stuff. And I said, this guy's he's a joker, who is he? Some fake prophet thing. A few months later, I said to my wife, I was like, I'm tired of this driving thing, man. I'm just tired of it, man. You know, she goes, why don't you do something with the kids? You're always complaining about them. I said, yeah. So I just filled out an application form. No, I made a phone call actually to the local authority, and the lady got back to me a few weeks later and said, well, I haven't got any training program, but there's a job going at the local school. And the joke is, it's the high school I used to go to, Alperton High. It was 3 days a week, part-time. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. I couldn't even fill out the application form. It was a mess. Crosses all over the application form stuff, because I hadn't filled the application form since I was like 18. This is like 15 years later, I'm filling that application form. So I was like, okay, let me do that. And then, so that's what we did. And then they gave me an interview, and from there, I did my training. It was the last year when mentors were introduced to school.
Right.
So when mentors were introduced, it was a 5-year program by the government, and all the training was free. So whoever wanted to be a mentor at that time could have walked into anywhere and just become a mentor, be trained on the job.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you have to pay for that training. But back then it was free.
And how's it been? Like as an experience for you, and how does it help you mentally? Obviously,
it's in terms of when I started to where it is now, it's a complete, it's gone really bad. I'm gonna put it in a nice way. It's gone. So when I started, you know, it was all about young black males. That was the talk, you know, young black males. And then as time has gone on, it's just become youths.
Right.
That encompass every young person. Doesn't matter what nationality they are. Everybody's in that now. It's just youths. And it's getting worse. So when I was started, there was youth clubs, there was all these different provisions were still there, and slowly but surely they've all just diminished till now. There's nothing anywhere. I don't know what it's like in Bristol, but
no, do you know what's
London.
funny you say that? I used to do like volunteering for like a youth forum, right? My uncle was one of the staff members. He's done youth work for years. Andre, Andre.
Yeah.
He was involved in it, and all of a sudden it's like you have people in different areas of the city, right?
Yeah.
And they're all located in all different areas. And you had our youth forum was the BME youth forum. That's what it was called at the time. Yeah. So you're talking about Black and RAF. And from there it kind of was like, okay, well there's no funding that's getting cut. Then you had, people that had different conditions, all different sorts of youth groups where they all had their own identities, I guess.
Yeah.
All basically kind of got dispersed and was told that you're all going to come together, basically, sort of a one location thing. And it didn't work for a lot of people,
Yeah. Funding's cut. They just cut funding left, right, and center.
I mean, it's funny because I grew up in play schemes. I grew up in that.
Yeah.
So I grew up going to after school clubs. Summertime, I was going to play schemes, summer play schemes. And they were all like run by like Black people, predominantly like Rastafarian people in the community that youth, you know what I mean? So I grew up around that. So we got our education as well. I got my Black history education from them, learning about Marcus Garvey and people like that, Martin Luther King, etc., etc. And that's what I was used to growing up. So I benefited from that greatly, and I met a lot of people. My social skills grew from that, communication skills, all that sort of stuff.
That's the most thing. That's what it's about.
Yeah, so you learn how to mix.
You learn about life, really. You learn about life in those places.
Yeah, but obviously, looking at it now, and I'm like, well, the young people. I mean, I guess it's the responsibility of myself and my generation now, because we are at the age of the people that were bringing us up. We're at that age now. So I guess, but it's interesting that you mentioned that, because a lot of cuts did happen a few years back, and as a result, a lot of people missed out on the support that they were getting, or the support they could have got. So.
Yeah, and that's where we are now, and that's just right across the board. So it's heartbreaking, because there's like say you wanted to do something, you won't really you don't have the space to do it. There's no place where you could really go that you can say, okay, I've got these young people. And if you do, you have to be spending big money. There's no community centers where they're free. Just like everything's closed.
What do you think?
Young people?
I mean, I know you from church. That's how I know you.
Yeah.
I know you from. I'm from Bristol. You from London. Convention happens. Bristol travel to London. Programs happen. London travels to Bristol. Whatever. That's how we know each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you just mentioned about all of these parts of stuff, what do you think? Like, do you think churches have a responsibility to sort of help the young people in that? And obviously, you have Sunday schools and you have youth groups, right? We know this, but a lot of these youth groups are based on like sort of religion things. What about if someone just wants to, as you said, just a space? How does that work? Or what do you think?
It should work. It should. If churches have a space, churches should open the doors, because the thing about churches, especially I want to say the old school churches, some of them have buildings, some of them have space, and it's no good just praying about the young people without doing anything for the young people. So if you've got a space, open the doors on a Friday, open the doors and let them in. It's no point.
How can they raise awareness though? Because I mean, a lot of times, I look at the past of young people's groups on a Friday, 7 o'clock, young people's groups on a Friday. What can they do to sort of let themselves be known and the young people actually enter that building. Do you think that the fact that the building is a church could be intimidating to those young people?
Nah, young people will go wherever there's a space, they will go. It doesn't, I don't think the building does anything, doesn't mean anything to them. The only thing it might do is that's like they're gonna say, oh, they're gonna preach to me. And it's just about, if you're gonna do it, just open the doors. Open the doors. You can have your fundamentals and praying. We're gonna pray when we start off. So the young people know this is a Christian household you're walking into. But end of the day, it's just interacting. You don't have to be preaching to them or reading the Bible. They're just interacting. They're playing table tennis, pool, whatever they're doing, cards, whatever they're doing in that safe space. As long as the space is safe and warm, and young people will be fine.
Do you think that's the main thing? Do you think it is a safe space? Do you think that's what's lacking in communities now, that young people don't have a safe space?
Yes. But young people walking street are scared. You ask any young person, you get them one-to-one and ask them if they're scared, they'll tell you, I'm scared. I am scared. I'm petrified. Depending on where they grow up, depending on their area, but a lot of them are scared.
I'm going to play advocate now, yeah?
Go on, go for it, brother.
Advocate, so I'll just say advocate.
Yeah, but go for it, man.
Yeah.
Still trying to get this light in, right?
You're talking about like children on the street, yeah?
Yeah.
You said that your wife said to you, you're always cussing about them.
Yeah, back in the day, I'd be complaining because I didn't grow up like that. Gang warfare, people can't go into certain areas. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in Northwest London. Yeah, it's got a reputation, whatever. I was out there. I wasn't a bad boy, but I was just out there. I know people that did what they do.
So what about someone that says, well, why can't they just stay in their yard? Why can't they just go home?
And I say to them, when you were that age, did you stay in your yard? That's what you say. When you were a teenager, did you stay in your house? What adults need to do is stop acting like they weren't teenagers. When you were a teenager, did you stay in your house when you were a teenager?
But then that being said, when I grew up, I had Friday club or whatever, I had refugees, I had youth situation, but even when I was older and I wasn't going to you're still going to be out doing.
You're going to be out. You're going to, your house is, young people's nowadays, their house is, got everything kitted out. They've got everything in the house. They've got the computer games and all this stuff. And I say to parents, when parents say, oh, why can't they stay? And I say, okay. And when they're in the house, what are you doing? Tell them to get off their game. Stop doing this. Go and do that. Go and do something else. And I'm like, do something else like what? My wife used to be the same. I'm saying, okay, no problem. Now you occupy them. Occupy them. What are you going to do with them? When we were younger, when we were younger, we were outside.
Yeah.
Come rain, shine, whatever, we're outside.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
For real.
It didn't make a difference because there was nothing to do in the house.
I don't recall, like summertime on a Saturday, you wake up, you obviously bathe or whatever, and you're out. That's it. Jump on your bike, you're out. I remember just walking to the park or riding to the park, yeah? I didn't even have to knock on no one's door. I just know there's going to be other people there. You get me? So I just, as soon as I get to the park, I can play football, I can chill with this guy, I can chill with this guy.
You're there. Because
I know they're going to be there. Do you know what I mean? That was it. You just know people's going to be there.
So I say to people, nowadays, times have changed. Obviously, you got to educate your child about, what's out there, to be careful. If they see something doesn't seem right, go. You know what I mean? Don't have to hang around. Don't play a hero and stuff like that. Because times are different, and we got young people who are, I would say, not so clued up, not so smart. The sad thing is, a lot of the young people that's committing the problems or are getting themselves into problems are not very well educated. Their learning skills are very, very young, very low. Their abilities are very, very low. Some of them have a reading age of like 7 and they're like 15. But they're big and they're this and they're that and they're bullies. And so trying to, rationale with those young people is hard. And for them, they're easily led because their learning abilities are 7-year-old.
Oh, right.
So it's easy to get them to coerce them to do things because they're not as clued up as they should be for their age and their size.
Mm. So like, where do we go? Like, okay, so coming from a Christian perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same point of view, I should say. Where do we go from here? If the cuts have happened and there's no safe space, what can be done?
As I said before, churches that have buildings, open your doors and engage.
What about the media though? Because you're technically in the media industry, right?
I'm in the media, yeah.
Field. So what about the media? Not just the Christian media, but in all.
The media is just gonna. The media, if you're in media, it's all about putting the news out first. Headlines, figures, numbers, traction. That's all the media is interested in. They're not really interested in changing anything. They just want to remember the media is just there to report what's going on.
Mm.
You know, if you own a media business, you know, it's about the traction, if sponsors and all this kind of stuff to generate funds, to generate money, and media don't really care. They've got a point to play because they can change the narrative what goes out. You've got the power to change the narrative of what goes out, but majority of them not interested in that. They're just interested in traction. That's why we have the problem we've got with Harry and Meghan and all that stuff going on because of the media.
Be careful.
It was funny. It was not funny. It was humorous in terms of the reaction.
Mm.
People getting upset and trying to prove this is a lie, that's a lie, this is this and this is that. But as I said, I delivered the newspapers, so I saw firsthand the press hounding of Harry and Meghan. I saw it firsthand. Even now, today, even when they wasn't doing anything, they had left, they were still reporting on them. I'm like, they've left the country, they've gone, and you're still reporting on them, you know, oh, they've gone here, and oh, Harry and Meghan have got a rich friend staying in my man's house, Tyler Perry's house. You know, reporting on that, like they've gone. They've said, leave us alone. We're not going to be a problem. We're going to go over to the other side of over to America and Canada and just be up. But you're still reporting on us.
I don't know if you saw. There's an interesting video sort of going viral around YouTube and other obviously social media platforms. There was these guys that did set up like a fake media channel.
Oh yeah, I saw that before the interview happened, and their perception on that's what I'm saying. Look, and those people were quite happy to do that. Quite happy to do it. You haven't seen the video, you haven't seen the interview, you're gonna speak about it like you've seen it.
And some of the stuff they were saying, it's like, wow, you're proper expert liars here, like you're.
That's what I'm saying. So they can, because it's not about the truth. It's just about getting the traction and you know, they don't really care.
And there's a saying, I don't know if you ever watched The Breakfast Club, the American radio show.
Yeah, I've seen it with Charlemagne and them guys.
Yeah. And Charlemagne always says, no one cares about the truth when the lie is more entertaining.
That's right, and he's right. He's right. He's right. That's why I said it was kind of humorous, the thing, because they're telling their truths. That's their truths. But we're gonna rip their truth. They're gonna rip their truths apart for our own, you know, oh, it's this, it's that, and look, to leave my guy to walk off the TV.
So that was
why are you walking off the TV? Why is he walking off the TV? Why? Because somebody's
as well. He's from Bristol, so
yeah. Because someone is putting something to you, and you really haven't got a leg to stand on because it's making you seem like a ogre, which you are. So why are you walking off the TV? You like to throw it, but then someone throwing something back at you, you're walking off. I think he wants a knighthood, but he's never going to get one. He's a disgraced media man. So, you know, I'm surprised no one ever throws that up all the time. I just throw that up at him. I say, just be quiet, man. Why are you doing this? Why are you not printing newspapers? Why are you not printing newspapers, Piers? What happened with that? you lied, man. You was making up stories.
Right. What do you think about, like, obviously we're talking about young people and, you know, the struggles that they go through at the end of the day, and the reality of what we've been talking about is the lack of support that they're currently getting. That's what's happening, right? And like I said, I would play advocate, you know, to people that say, you know, what about people that are saying, why can't they stay at the yard? And you've obviously answered that. But sometimes the situation's even deeper than that. They're afraid to go home, or the situation at home is worse than the one outside.
That too.
Do you come across that in your line of work?
Yeah. That's why schools were open to the vulnerable kids throughout lockdown. Because of that same thing, that they're at risk. They know that there's so many young people in care. It's like, wow. Those are a lot of those kids I work with. It's like they're in care. There's so many in care, and it's like, and when they tell you their stories are like, such a young person, you've had to live through all that in your short space of time of life. You haven't even lived yet, and you've had a journey.
So yeah, you said that when you were that age, you were out, right?
Yeah.
So explain to me your upbringing. I mean, like, have you always been? You're on a gospel radio station. I know you from church. Have you always been? So someone that's watching is like, oh, he's just a church boy, like, you know. I mean,
yeah, no.
He's a church boy. But he's always been in church, but we don't know about the roads. We don't know about ends.
No. Okay, I grew up in church, the same church as you, in Jamaica. Here, Jamaica, I'm back here again.
So
I left church
out. Were you born?
I was born here, but I went to Jamaica with my gran when I was a baby. Came back here. No one seems to know when I came back here. I have to try and work it out myself. I think I was about 7, 8. I don't know. No one seems to know. Who cares? Kind of thing. I left church at 14, 15. And I lived the world. I enjoyed myself fully. You name it, I did it. And if I didn't do it, look, I didn't want to do it. Yeah, you name it, I did it. Party, girls, good stuff, bad stuff, illegal, not illegal, whatever. When you're out in the world, you do whatever the world offers you, isn't it? Whatever tickles your ears, makes you feel good, you're gonna do it. Yeah. So yeah, and then I came back to Christ when I was 30. Just before I turned 30, or around that time. I came back. But yeah, I lived the world, man. I enjoyed myself fully. I had children, I got 6 children. I had my first child at 16. He's 31 now. So
wow. you got a grown up. Your son's 2 years younger than me.
Yeah, I got 6. So my first 4 in it, so I got 31. The second one will be 27 in a few weeks' time. And my daughter, she's 26, and my other daughter's 23, and then my 2 youngest are 16 and 15. So yeah, church boy. Yeah, I'm a church boy now, but I wasn't always a church boy now. So I got a more balance on reality. What's out there.
Do you think that?
So when I've come back to Christ, it's easier.
Do you think that helps you engaging with young people, like in the church, or engaging with young people that have come from outside to the church?
I think it's both, because the ones growing up in the church wants to know what's going on outside in the world. And the ones that's coming into church want to know what goes on inside. So if you got experience of both, it helps.
Once again, I'm going to play advocate, but in a different way.
It, man.
What about someone that says, okay, well, you went out and experienced this and that. Why can't I go and should I go and do that then?
I would never say no to anybody, but I will just give them the best thing to do when I work with a young person is I give you both sides of everything, and then you make the choice, because you have the ones that's going to live with the consequences of that choice. Because if I make the choice, then it's going to give you an out. Oh well, Theo said I should do this. No, I didn't say to do that. So I give you both sides. So okay, a young man, say he's a virgin. I'll give you an example. He's a virgin, and he wants to go sleep with this young lady because he wants to do his thing. I would say no problem, you can do that, but then be prepared for the consequences. She could be pregnant, you could get an STD. You might think it's just a little thing and she falls in love, whatever. Yeah,
I was going to say the emotional elements of things as well.
So I'll put that side, because when you're a young man, you're not thinking about those things. You're just thinking, oh, that girl's nice, I want to get some. And then I could say, or you can sit back, relax, and just let it slide. So that's the choice. Then you make your decision. But no, there's going to be some repercussions or consequences. And I might say nothing might happen. You might sleep over and nothing happens. Hey, but now you can make that decision with a bit more information. And then I just leave it there. Then that's down to him now or her to make that choice. I would never say to somebody, no, you shouldn't do that. No, who am I?
I was going to say, because I mean, when you do say, a lot of times when you tell people not to, this human nature, innit? Forbidden fruit, innit? So you tell someone not to do something, they want to know why. They want to know what's the big deal about that. Now I really want to do it because you've told me not to do it.
Yeah, because you've told me all the negatives and the thinking, oh, I can live with that, or that's not so bad. Or sometimes they don't even tell you the negative. They just say, especially when I was growing up in church, you were just told no, no reason, no explanation. Like, don't do that. It's like, why not? Just don't do it. That's the devil's work. I mean, that's the devil's work. I don't know what this devil do. My friends are doing it. How come they're not dead? What's gonna happen to me? So why is it gonna happen to me? Why can't? So no, I never say no. Never say no. Let's give somebody, because remember, life's about choices. Life is a choice. Life's a choice. You make a choice every day in life, what you're gonna put on, what you're gonna eat, where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do. You're making choices constantly throughout the day. So if someone's making choices constantly throughout the day, or when you're making bigger choices, you just need to have more information. Like if you open your cupboard and all you've got in the cupboard is bread, well, that's what you're eating. But if you've got bread, rice, this, that, whatever, you've got more choices. Like when I work with a young person in school who, they can do better in school. I always use the analogy of when you walk into a shop, someone gives you £1, you can only buy so much. But if someone gave you £5, you can buy a lot more. As I said, when you want to do further education, but you want to do certain things, when you've only got 2 or 3 GCSEs, you can only do so much. But if you've got 5, 6, 7 GCSEs, now you've got choices of what you want to do. I said, life's about choices. Give yourself as much choices and as much options as possible. And that's the same with anything you do.
As we grow older, hindsight, you know what I mean? I'm regretful. People, is you look back and you say, oh, I wish I learned another language. I wish I learned how to play this instrument.
That's right.
I wish I there's just countless things.
So that's why someone like me comes along and says, do it now. Later on, you've already done it. You might want to do it. You might, like I say to people, don't really say no to different experiences. Someone offers an experience like me coming on the radio. If I said no at the time, oh no, I can't do that, it's not for me, blah, 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 I wouldn't be sitting there now. I wouldn't know.
You just never know what life's going to offer you. Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
In life, when you learn certain things, you can use them. Like, for example, even if it's a small thing, you can save your money with certain things. If you know, I don't know, like say cars. Sometimes I think, I wish I knew a bit more about like cars. I can't risk I can't risk going and trying to fix something myself now that I make the situation worse. So I got to take it to a mechanic. Now that mechanic will know how much I know just by certain questions I can ask.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the mick with this guy. Do you know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like,
That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take some money out of this. This is a cheap job, but he don't know that. Do you know what I mean? And it's little things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like just little things that if you know how to do certain things, you can save yourself a little bit of money.
Oh, of course.
Or you could, and that will benefit you in life. But it's about educating people on that. It's very difficult to say that to young people because obviously, I mean, have you heard of our prefrontal cortex?
Yeah.
All right, so technically your brain doesn't really mature fully until like you're 25 plus. So technically that part of your brain, like to basically void out mistakes and stuff like that, will that make you think before you act, all those sort of things, doesn't really develop until you're 25 plus. So you're kind of an adolescent until then, in a way.
Well, that's in society, in the government, everything, you're classed as you're still classed at that at 25. Most funding stops at 25. A lot of funding stop. Some stop at 18, but there's ones that carry on up until someone's 25. And then after that, then it's like you're on your own.
Yeah.
Because it's true. If you look back at your life, pre-20s, mid-20s, you were thinking a complete different person to what you were late 20s.
Yeah.
You had a bit more direction.
There's a saying, what's it, something like a man that thinks the same at the age of 30, that at the age of 50 as he did when he was 30, has just wasted 20 years of his life.
That's right.
You ain't learned nothing.
You haven't learned anything. You haven't grown. There's been no maturity. When I work with young people, especially the ones that are with gang members or on the risk or on the verge, as they call it, youth at risk, whatever terminology they want to throw on it. The first questions I ask them is, what's the age range of the people that you hang with, that you hang out with? And they will tell me. So if they say the young person's 14, 15, that's the age group I tend to work with a lot, because they're just getting their little independence at 14. So they're a bit more, a bit later. And they'll turn around and say 16, 17, 18, 20, 24, 25. And then when I hear that 25, I go, okay, would you hang around with a 5-year-old? And they say, no. Listen to me, why not? Because I said, because they say, because he's 5 and it's just me. And what am I do with a 5-year-old? But you just said you hang around with a 25-year-old. In 10 years' time, that 5-year-old is going to be you, and you're going to be that 25-year-old. And it goes, no, I'm not. I'm going to do this to me. Your path's already lined out. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 20, there's a pathway there that you're just going to follow that same path. Why are you going to do anything different? Because the guys older than you are just doing the same thing. And
it's true. You set an example. It doesn't matter what generation you're in. Every generation looks up. That's human nature. You look up to the elders. So if somebody's 10 years older than you, 3 years older, even me, like I grew up, my friends, I was the younger one. I only started hanging about with guys my own age when I went secondary school. Primary school, all older than me. Right? So they were 13, I was 10, stuff like that. But you look up to them and you follow them.
That's right.
They're older. So as far as you're concerned, they're supposed to know better than me. They're supposed to be able to guide you.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So if those influences aren't positive, it's very easy to fall victim to, and that's why people prey on younger people.
Of course.
They know they're more impressionable. And you can use
because they're looking at you, as you said, as somebody that's older, you should be wiser. And I say, a 25-year-old and a 15-year-old shouldn't have anything in common. Shouldn't have anything in common. You're still at school. I should be working or whatever. I'm driving, doing whatever, children, family, whatever. You're 15. We shouldn't have anything in common. What would you have in common? What? I don't get it.
The only thing, and this is it, the only thing that you should be able to do with me is teach me.
That's right.
If you're 25 years old, I'm supposed to come to you and get some free game. Like, you're supposed to educate me. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's your role in life. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Okay, you part of my village, you educate me, you teach me, and you've been there already. So if you notice I'm about to make certain mistakes, like you said, it's not a case of just telling me no, but you can explain to me where that path may lead and why that's, not
exactly
to go. Exactly. That's what I should be looking for. But if you're gonna be like, yo, fam, you should do this and this, and that could lead to either prison or jail, death or prison.
Yeah.
Then you're not really giving.
No, and that's where we are in society with the young people, and you got 25-year-olds hanging with 15-year-olds. There's no hope there. There's no hope, because you shouldn't. 25-year-old, you shouldn't even know the same songs, really. You shouldn't even know certain things. Is because they're in a different world.
Yeah,
they're in a different world to you. It should be in a different world. Like I'm 10 years older than you, but you into stuff I know by, but I don't know. No, I'm more than 10 years older than you, actually. Sorry. I'm giving you age there. I'm giving you age there. I'm giving you age, man. I'm giving you age. You said you're a couple of years older than my son, so yeah.
I'm 33.
Yeah. No, I'm 15 years older than you, so yeah. So yeah, it's a serious thing, but yeah, it's young people and that it's tough. It's tough, and one thing that disappoints me, and bring it back to church, is the fact that the church don't engage at all.
Do you think that when you say the church, are you reflecting on your experience, or do you think that are you seeing things across?
I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it. I've been to so many churches. And they get fooled. Churches get fooled with the young people in the church, because the young person that's in the church is a child of one of the members in the church.
Right.
So that the young person has no choice but to be in the church. But when they get older, they're not there. So as I said, they get fooled when they see, and sometimes people have children in batches. There's a batch of kids. There's like, there's a crew of that age group, and they move together. There's a 3-year gap between them and stuff like that. So they get fooled that they've got so many young people, but they don't realize they're all going to leave at the same time.
Yeah.
And they get fooled by that. So they say, oh, we have lots of young people. I say, how many of them are here independently? Or how many of them are here because of their parents? Oh, their parents is me. Okay, let me see that now in 4 or 5 years' time, when they've gone off to college or gone off to uni and stuff and come back. Are they still going to be here? And a lot of the times they don't come back, or they come back and then they get treated like they're still 15, and they're like, I'm grown. I'm grown. You got to be part of the youth group. Yo, I'm 30 and I got my child's in the youth group. Wait, I'm my child?
Yeah.
I'm married. I'm married and I've got 2 kids, and they're in the little kiddies group. Look, there's my 3-year-old there running, and but can you be part of the youth group? But part of the youth group? Come on, man. I'll show some respect, man.
I think in some people's eyes though, and I don't think it's generally just a church thing. I think in general, some people, it's like you're always going to be youth to them. Because
you've raised them and stuff, but you then still have to, but you have to change and show them respect, because they're an adult. You have to change. Yes, you might have used to change their nappies, or you might used to, babysit them, but that was then. They've grown. If you're still looking at them that you haven't grown, as we said before. If someone is between the age of reach 50 and they're still thinking at the 30-year-old, you haven't grown up. So it's all good seeing you and saying, boy, I remember O'Neill, and as I look at boy, and look on O'Neill now and think him a big man, but we start changing nappy and rare that like, yeah, that was you know how old I am now? You know how old I am now?
Yeah.
And still, I'm going, and you're a young man. Go and join the youth group, man. The youth group. Really?
And then you go to the youth group, you look like an old man in the youth group.
You are the old man. You're the old man in you because they're looking at you like, what are you doing with us?
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
You buying us sweets or something? What?
Hey, listen, Brother Frio, I'm always going to call you Brother Frio, whether you like.
I know, but it's all good, man.
It's been a pleasure speaking to you today. I want to say thank you for your insight, No,
thank you for asking, man.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool, man. It's been a pleasure because, it's good to find out, from somebody that's been on, like you said, like you've been outside and you've been inside the church, and it's about the music therapy, and your job and what you do, and how impactful it is. I wanted to ask you, when you obviously you spent 7 years, right, of you doing the radio thing, and it's a gospel radio station.
Yeah.
Is your heart in gospel music so much that that's where you feel like you should be? Or if somebody said, okay, come on Radio 1 or come on, like, 1Xtra or something, like, how would you react to that?
What, and play that music there? The like Radio 1.
Yeah.
I'd find it hard. I think I'd just say no.
Right.
I have to say no, because I don't listen to what it is, even though I wasn't really passionate about music, but as you asked the question earlier about, feeling the music, I have to feel it.
Yeah.
Because from me anyway, for me to do the show, how I like to do the show, I've got to feel the music. I've got to be in it. I'm in the show 100%. I'm in it. I'm in it. So I know the songs, and even if it's a pre-recorded show, you wouldn't know it's pre-recorded because I'm in it.
That's what you say.
I'm in the show. I'm in the show. I'm listening to the show. I'm in the show.
It's funny, so, as you're saying, you're in that. I'm getting images of my brother's a DJ, right? My older brother, and I'm getting images of him. And sometimes he does like a Facebook Live where he's just, just playing music and that, and he's always so embraced it. He's always like, he can't
in it.
He's just in it. Because
what happens is people feed off your passion, off your energy. So if you go to a dance or a party, and the DJ's playing, if the DJ is just playing music, and they're not giving you anything, you're not gonna get anything. Because they're the ones that get you going. That's why they have the mic man or the mic woman. They got the MC and they get the people going. Yeah. It's the same song you've heard how many times, but because they got you going, they're making you reminisce or something like that. You start to feel it a bit more. So if a young person's watching and they want to be a presenter, be in it, man. Be in it. Don't do it half-hearted. Don't do it. I was just talking to one of the presenters earlier, and he goes, sometimes it's hard because everyone's working remotely and stuff like that. It's hard to, when you're in the office and there's like 200 people here, you get buzzing around. But when you're at home, to get that same energy, but we have to be given that encouragement because people are tuning in for that encouragement. So sometimes you're a bit down. Be open and honest with the listeners, man. I'm not feeling it today. I had a rough day today. But then the music's gonna uplift you, so that's a part of it. Now I'm feeling a bit down, but you know what? Hopefully by the end of the show, after I play these next 5 songs, I might change my mood, and in fact, I'm gonna play one of my favorite songs that normally, and then the people go on that journey with you. They go on that journey with you. So once you got them on that journey, then then that's how you do it. And anything you do, embrace it, man. Embrace it like you're embracing the podcast. Embrace it, man.
My last question, you mentioned mood. This is all about mental health, all right? And we're trying to address mental health issues. And I personally started this because I feel like as Black people, we don't talk about mental health as much as we should. No. And obviously growing up, coming from a church background, definitely don't talk about mental health as much as we should. I mean, what's your perception on what the church can do to address mental health issues, as opposed to like what's been happening over the past how many years?
The church, first and foremost, the church needs to know what mental health is. They need to have mental health awareness training themselves. The body, not just everybody in there needs to be trained to understand what it is. Because one thing I know of church people, if they don't know something, they fear it and they put it to the side. If they don't get it, they don't understand it, they will just dismiss it because they fear it. You know, people fear what they don't understand. I think Nas said that.
Yeah, hate what they can't conquer.
Yeah. So you know the lyrics then. So yeah, Nas one of my favorite rappers. So yeah. So he and that line's always stuck with me. People fear what they don't understand, and it's the truth. And that highlights me in church. If they don't understand it, they don't get it. They're not going to try and work it out. They're just going to dismiss it straight away. So mental health, they don't get it. They don't understand it. So it's mad people dismiss it. We pray, you fast, you throw olive oil on it because that's what Jesus did to get rid of the spirits. It's all an evil spirit and all that and all that stuff. Yeah, maybe. But you're casting out spirits differently now than they did back in Jesus. Jesus could say, come out. And some of them you can, but sometimes somebody needs to talk to somebody to get them through it. I think that's casting out as well.
I think one of the issues is that mental health is or mental illness is so many different aspects, and it's no different to physical health, right?
Of course.
I can have an issue with my arm, I can have an issue with my leg, I can have an issue with my mouth or my ear, right? And you address it in different ways. So mental health could be something as depression, right?
Yeah.
Mental health could be like you just, and this is what drew me to low mood. Like you say, mental, you coming in the morning, say, I'm not in the best of moods today.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
You're
right.
at a stage of mental illness. It sounds extreme to class it as that.
But it is.
That's what it is. You're in a state of mental illness. And there are things that you can do to come out of that state. You don't mean you're going to be in that state for long. You could be in that state for 5 minutes.
That's right.
You could have a stomach ache. You go to the toilet and you're fine afterwards. Little things like that. You have a drink of water. You have a headache. You have a drink of water. You feel fine. It's treatment.
That's right.
So I personally feel that's how we should address certain things. Address it like you would address physical health. Right?
Yeah.
And don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to address it. If mental health could be, this person's angry right now. This person's really, really angry right now, due to whatever reason. You're allowed to have emotions.
Of course.
Doesn't mean it's demonically possessed. It just means that they're going through
That's
them.
right. That's
Hormones play a huge part on our mental health.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And that's something that people don't want to admit.
No.
But it's true.
There's, as I said, it's just so most churches, they need to literally just have mental health awareness training to get understand it better instead of just fighting it, mad people. And it's not, we don't do that. We pray about it and give it to the Lord. I'm saying the person's in a bad way. They need, practical help. But so it starts with there. It starts there, and that's the thing with the churches. They don't. Not all churches. I'm not going to put all churches in that category, but they don't want to embrace different things. They embrace what they want, I should say.
Right.
Like some churches were against social media. They were against digital things, but now they have to. They have to have it.
Yeah.
Else they're no longer a body. If you didn't embrace Zoom and all these different things, you are no longer existing. Well, you can, but you're not really. I know they got some of them. They got the dial-up service and all that. That's hit and miss.
I don't know any church that's doing that, but if they are, then more power to them if they can. If it's working.
You're not gonna retain people doing that.
Well, that's bringing us to the end of this particular episode of Melanin Mindset. I almost said Wabemi show again.
You'll get there, man. You'll get there.
That was a former title. But yeah, once again, man, privileged to speak to you. It's been a while actually, because we haven't spoken in ages. be honest.
Years, man. So when you reached out, I was like, whoa, okay. People don't realize O'Neill used to come to some of the stuff I used to do back in the day, and O'Neill hasn't changed much. Still likes to ask questions. Very inquisitive, which is a good thing. You know, always had a growth mindset. That's one thing I remember. He was at a growth mindset. He was always thinking, what next? Yeah,
man, I like to learn.
You always that. You and Jacob and Andre and Junior, you know, was always trying to, you know, push the bar and trying to do stuff, which was good. I loved it because, you know, you lot always wanted to know. You wasn't just accepting what was given to you. Yeah, you always wanted to know. So you doing this is a reflection of you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it was.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Nah, no problem.
This has been Melanin Mindset. Thank you to Brother Theo. And for all those that's watching, good morning, afternoon, or night. Peace.
Join me on Premier Gospel.
Oh, yeah. Wait, before I go. Yeah. Do all your plugging, man. Get all your plugging.
Okay. My name is Theo Manderson, so it's Theo as you see there, and it's Manderson. It's Anderson with an M at the front on Premier Gospel, Saturday 7 till 10, and the social media is just Theo Manderson. Nothing fancy. Just you'll find me on Insta and Facebook and say yo. So 7 to 10, premiergospel.org.uk on the internet, or if you got DAB, I don't think it reaches Bristol, but if you got download the Premier app, then you can catch it on there. But just go online and you'll see it there.
Also, trying to remember what it was called, that thing you did yesterday.
After Dark. Join me After Dark Tuesday nights. It's an adult relationship group. We you know, we don't pull any punches. So yeah, so join me on After Dark. That's on Tuesday nights, 10 till 12 on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, just look for After Dark by Yvonne Michelle, and you'll see me on there as well, talking about adult relationships or different, whatever. When it comes to relationships, everything to do with relationships.
Nice. All right, Theo.
My brother, blessings, man. God bless, man.
You too.